Are you guys ready for the Ramona coaster? I know that we are. We're tuning in and showing you it live right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The Ramona coaster has arrived.
Yes, she has.
Choo-choo, all aboard. Hey guys, we're going to talk all about Real Housewives of New York, Season 9, Episode 20, our first look at this year's reunion, the first episode. It brought a little bit of drama. My name's Lyndsey Wegner. You guys can tweet me at Lyndsey Wegner. And tonight, I am joined by Thomas Orlina.
Hey guys, what's up? I just want to promote my brand new YouTube series, Your Time with Thomas. Check it out, episode 4. We go to the beach. I ride a roller coaster. Check it out on YouTube.
Oh, well, there
Super
you go.
cool. Your Time with Thomas. Check it out on YouTube after our after show.
And we've got Megan Stecher joining us tonight.
Hey guys, follow me on social media at Megan Stecher. That's MEGANSTECHER. I've been nonstop tweeting about Housewives for about 3 weeks now. I'm even sick of myself, but if you love talking Housewives, come chat with me on Twitter.
I also saw you talking about Stassi and her boyfriend breaking up.
Oh my God, honestly, if you haven't been following her Instagram story, you are missing out.
What is she saying?
Magically remaking the Sex and the City movie. So what happened was, if you're not up to date, Stassi's boyfriend dumped her on their 4-year anniversary, and she had already booked a trip for them to go to Mexico together. So just like Big kind of dumped Carrie by not showing up for their wedding, and the honeymoon was prepaid on her credit card in Mexico. They've kind of been recreating lines from the movie in Mexico. She took one of her best girlfriends with her, and it's been magic. And then you get to watch like Stassi on tequila, getting naked in the pool, a hot mess. It's been really magical.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Right now, let's talk about some Housewives.
Yes.
Yes.
What did you think this episode delivered? Did we get the first episode? Sometimes it brings it all, you get all the drama right now, and sometimes they save it for that final episode.
I think it was off to a good start. There was a lot that they discussed that I was expecting later on in the episode, but like I'm really happy with it.
I'm gonna give it a B. A B.
Okay.
I think, unfortunately, as much as I did enjoy this season and as fast as it went by, we weren't working with a whole lot. So I think when it's coming to stretching things out across these 3 reunions, we got hot and heavy at the end of this one to carry our interest into the second reunion. But it was a slower one for me in the way that maybe the second episode usually is. So this second and third episode, we'll have to see how it shakes out. I'm not sure.
It was interesting when Bethenny went off on Ramona very early on in the reunion. I don't know if the production put that in the beginning because I was expecting that to be later. It kind of came out of nowhere. She just got really angry.
It did, because I thought that they had made up in real life by the time this was filmed just a few weeks ago. So
I think we're going to get more of Ramona and Bethenny throughout the reunion. I also think it was interesting that they brought the Tom and LuAnn stuff up right away, because these are things that we did see throughout the season, but I feel like they edited it and put this at the forefront of the first episode so we can get more on this, and it really makes me sad because it makes LuAnn look really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, not
bad
but
like
you
she's a bad
just
person, but you just
feel
like
so horrible for her because what we were all afraid was going to happen if she married this guy happened. And now,
so soon.
Right. And, she wasn't even able to make it last till this stopped airing, where it's like all of her dirty laundry's out there while she's talking about it, while we're watching it, it's just, and she's wearing her rehearsal dinner dress tonight in bridal white. It just was painful.
the bridal white.
Something that they touched on was the fact that her kids have been affected by all this, and then sometimes when I watch this I forget about the kids. I'm just like so focused on the Housewives, but the fact that it was affecting her son and things that her children see, it must be tough to see your mom go through something like that.
I mean, it kind of is similar to Vicky and Brooke's situation where
Totally.
Brianna really had a tough time accepting Brooks. And I mean, when
Brooks.
Noelle was seeing this with LuAnn and Tom, I mean, that's tough to watch your mom go through this and hear all the other stuff around it and be a supporter.
Yeah.
of
There
it
must be
then.
some type of relief in that household that you know, she did go through the divorce.
It's like LuAnn was holding on with like bloody fingernails to this guy.
I can relate to her in some sense of just wanting to hold on to something that's, you know, you want this perfect thing to be for your life, but knowing that it's like the wrong person.
But it's so bad. It wasn't just like it was really good. It was just bad the whole time, though. That's where it's hard to see it.
Totally.
Because I know what you're saying, where you're with somebody and you fight to make it work, and you're like, I can make this work because you've seen good in it. You may have seen the bad, and you're like, okay, but I still feel like this could work with this person, even though you know the bad stuff. There's been nothing but negativity. The ball and chain comments, the demiking, the Missy talking about that, Barbara, her friend, saying that, you know, like, she's just doing this to just get married. She'd rather get divorced than not go through with the wedding. I mean, just, it was all just...
I mean, and if part of that is true, if there is some truth to what Barbara said, then, you know, maybe it's not as bad as we all think.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the fashion as well.
Yes.
The ladies on the couches. We've got Tinsley, Carole, Bethenny, Andy, then Ramona, Sonja, Dorinda, and LuAnn on the end. I figured Tinsley would be on the end. I know we talked about this last week. We did not think that LuAnn would have been on the end with all the drama currently, but who knows. What did you guys think? I know, Thomas, you said you did a poll.
I pulled it up right now. I love doing polls on Twitter. So I wish that Twitter had like more options to do, because they only do 4. But we're at 50% Bethenny.
Okay.
The hot red with the little bow. Ramona coming in second at 29%. Tinsley at third with 14%. And Carole at 7%.
Okay.
I felt like Carol's was safe, but it was a pretty dress. I liked the color.
I loved the color. I wanted to see all of them standing. And
Right.
Dorinda had my favorite shoes.
The silver?
For sure. They were like these silver, but they were metallic and stuff. But I really liked Bethenny's dress. And Tinsley's was a really pretty color. But I just expect Tinsley to wear something like that. So this wasn't like, I want to see when you go to the reunion, do something big and bold. And I don't think this was a big, bold choice for Tinsley. So I can't put her in that category. I would definitely say Bethenny or...
It felt very daytime, right?
Yeah.
It was like a daytime
It felt
brunch.
like she was like, like she was going to someone's baby shower or bridal shower, kind of a... Ramona knocked my socks off. I cannot believe how good she looks for 60.
Yeah.
She looks great.
I thought was best dressed for me personally.
Okay.
Bethenny looked great. Like I love her in red, and her signature color. It was much better than last year. Last year it was way too casual for me with that long like tank top. But I don't know. I just thought Ramona had it, and I'm gonna have nightmares about Dorinda's outfit. I usually like when she pulls out like something vintage. But if this was vintage, it was like, we're not ready for it yet to come back.
And I liked her makeup.
Oh, I hated it.
But it was too young.
Right.
Because I loved I do
wasn't-
this where I do like black on the top and then I'll do purple or green on the bottom. My eyes are green, so you do that to pop your eyes. And hers are blue, so you do the maroon to pop the eye. The problem is it's this young trend to do.
Editorial of a look, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And then with the lipstick with it, just wasn't.
It was a lot
The
for
print
me.
reminded me of Jules's dress, like the short, like glitzy, but just nothing too like wow.
And we haven't even talked about Sonja.
What was she wearing? I don't remember.
A red,
She wasn't
like,
even
hot
on my
pink.
poll.
Was it hot pink or
no,
red?
it was a reddish.
I couldn't really tell on our TV.
Yeah, our TV, it's hard, but it looked like it was red, but super deep, like low.
It was a
cut,
lot
like,
of tits. It
like-
was a lot of tits. It
like
was very
Ramona.
like J-Lo.
Yeah.
And
back
it
in
had
the day.
something on the side. It might have had a slit. I couldn't quite tell.
There was some sort of embellishment around her low waist area.
I wonder
but
if
you
that
couldn't
was
really
from
see
her
it.
collection.
Oh, well, she's a host and an entrepreneur, and she's very international.
The shade.
Let's talk about the Ramona coaster. She had her eyelids done at 54. She's had laser for her son. So it's because you know that their son. And I put sunscreen on, but you know that there's sun and it's on my face and like sunscreen and sunspot. And I was like,
It's the
What?
coaster.
So it was like,
The
yeah,
coaster.
exactly. She was like more than happy to start off on, here's what I've had done, and here's what I've had done. And the second she mentions it, it's, well, this is why, but this is why. And I only did this little tiny bit, and this is why. And, it's like, come on, Ramona.
Pull down the lap bar. We're going on the Ramona coaster.
most people get their boobs done in their 30s. I got mine, and Andrew's like,
57.
Most people get their boobs done?
No. Nope.
No, I don't know. The
It's usually
stats
later
that,
on
but-
to pull them up from the belly button area, get them back up where they
Yeah.
used to be.
She had those done at 57, and she's had Botox. So yes, she does work to look the way that she does. But And
it's working for her.
looks
Yeah,
good
looking
for
back
60.
at past seasons, she looks
doesn't look
amazing.
overdone in the way that some of them go way too far. She looks like herself, just so refreshed.
Refreshed. Good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did see them come back to the conversation about Dorinda's house and the fact that it was vandalized. And these were actually production lights. And she couldn't find the cord for.
Yeah.
So she just ripped them off the wall, and she assumed that they would be just a free paint job from production. I can almost understand that, but you still apologize.
Yeah, it's
Right.
Dorinda comes off as somebody that knows that their friend is half apologizing and just lets things go, which is part of the reason why I love her. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes people walk all over her, and in that case, I felt like Ramona should have definitely. She just has a hard time apologizing.
Both her and Sonja do.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
hard.
Dorinda's saying that people respond better to someone admitting their mistake versus shooting around the truth, and and that's what Ramona always does. And even Sonja was doing that later on when she was talking about her conversation with Dorinda and the pajamas. And I thought it was great that Bethenny jumped in and said that Ramona's super impolite to people that are below her because her assistant got into the elevator with her. She didn't speak to her, didn't acknowledge her.
That was
and she
amazing.
says that she does this all the time, and she paid the guy at the hotel $200, and she goes, does that give you the right to treat him like a dog? I mean, do you really think that Ramona treats people that are not at her level in a different way?
I do. And it's sad because she thinks, oh, I worked my way up from nothing and I did everything myself. I've been on my own since I was 17 or whatever age she said. I don't know what makes her think she could treat people like that. But in her mind, she definitely doesn't equate, like, people are, I guess if you don't have as much money as her or if you're not famous, forget about it.
It's like a high society thing.
But it's so sad. I guess it's something to do with her age. I don't feel like Tinsley treats people like that.
And Dorinda and LuAnn don't treat people like that. I mean,
No.
even Bethenny said that LuAnn talked like her daughter, like there was nothing wrong, and Dorinda hangs out with her driver Kevin.
That was an amazing nugget. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? What are they all hanging out doing? Like, are Kevin and John, like, I don't know, up to something late night?
So, I mean, I did think it was really good of Bethenny to bring this, to make a point of this, and I hope that next year we see a change. That we see her on better behavior with staff, with waitresses, with, you know.
And the show definitely helps these women change. That's the beauty of the show, is that, you know, these women go through mess ups and they learn from it, and we get to ride along with that. So I'm sure she's probably going to go out of her way to, I don't know, do a noble gesture to somebody that's below her.
She did say about herself, you know, I had a bad year, and seeing it on TV, it's like, holy bleep. She's basically saying, like, wow, I couldn't believe watching my own self, how I was coming across, how I was acting. But it's interesting that Bethenny took her to task on the way she treats people that don't make the same kind of money as her. And it was very like, well, I don't know what you're talking about if you see it that way. So it's just classic Ramona.
Is this the second stage of grief?
Good.
Anger?
I think that was a great. Was that a viewer that pointed that out? The second stage of
I think so.
grief is anger. I think they're right on. The fact that two of her friends thought that, and this viewer pointed that out, and she was lashing out at everyone, saying horrible things. I think they have a point.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Okay. And we got from Bethenny saying she's sick of hearing it. I watch What Happens Live, at the bar mitzvahs, at Hanukkahs, at birthdays. She will not be friends with Jill.
This is my favorite part of the whole reunion. I could probably watch this again, like having dinner and just watching that part, because you watch this like tumultuous like thing that happened. I mean, Jill was really hands-on with helping Bethenny early on in her career, and to see what Bethenny has been able to accomplish, and for it to be, you know, I don't know, almost 10 years later, for her to just keep that door shut. It's interesting. It just is super interesting to me.
I mean, it's almost like opening up the door. If she would, it'd be like having a second Ramona in her life.
Yeah.
Not that Ramona and Jill are the same person, but it's just always going to be something. It's always going to be someone talking about her behind her back. No matter what she says to her face, she kind of doesn't want the best for her deep down. So I think it's wise of Bethenny. And my favorite part was when she got in Andy's face, because they are pretty close.
They are.
Off camera. And she said, with all due, his, go-to line when he's really giving it to a housewife, being like, come on.
Yeah.
With all due respect, you need to give me a little credit here. She gave it right back to him, and that's my favorite. I love it.
I still am always going to love the New York Housewife episodes with her and Jill in there. Even when they were fighting, those were great. Like, I just thought it was entertaining, and I still, to this day, watch Kelly Bensimon and Bethenny and that whole scene. I could just watch that over and over again where Kelly came and tried to check her. That was amazing. But yeah, I miss those days.
We talked about it a couple episodes ago that we thought maybe it was possible that Jill could come back, but I think that Bethenny will put the kibosh on that, and that will be impossible to make happen.
That's the only thing that I don't like. I don't like that Bethenny has that much control over this show that she can make that decision and tell Andy, I don't want her on the show. I mean, granted, Andy is the true leader of this whole franchise, but the fact that she has that much authority for Jill not to even get her foot back into a show that she started, that must be terrible. That must suck, because you can tell Jill wants to come back.
Well, and that would make Jill even more fuel to the fire for her to be that much.
I feel like, with the exception of Lydia being back on the OC, which I really don't understand, I feel like Andy's usually not gung-ho about people coming back, because I feel like when they have had them come back, it's never that exciting. I know that Camille has kind of been sniffing around Beverly Hills for a while, and she'll show up as a friend of, but she really never adds anything. So I think that they're not big on, once you've been released, it's like, we had a really good reason to release you, and thank you for your service.
Plus, she tried to throw him under the bus. I think she did like a Oprah
Oh my
interview.
God, when she did a one-on-one in the clubhouse with him.
Yeah, I remember that.
And self-recorded the entire thing and was like, I've recorded it, so you can't edit this and make this look a certain way. And
there's a few missteps that she's done, because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, and I think that that's what happened for her, because I don't think I'm not gonna say that Bethenny is fully in control of this, but I think Jill has made a few mistakes into the fact that she can't come back, because Nene's back, Nene is like somebody that left that came back. So Jill, if she probably had a better relationship with Andy, she probably would have been welcomed back, because viewers clearly would love to see her back.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Dorinda and Sonja feud and how that all started and how they kind of squashed things. But they talked about clip. Oh, nice job, guys.
We're so in sync here at
We
AfterBuzz
didn't
TV.
even plan that.
I swear we didn't practice that.
Wow, that was amazing. Clip apparently means shut it or shut. I even hate saying that. I don't think I ever tell anyone to shut. I feel bad. Shut up.
You know what I remember saying
can't
as a
say
kid
it.
so much, and now as an adult, I'm like, if I, like, the only person I would ever say it to would probably be like my boyfriend in an argument, and then once I say it, I'm like, it just sounds like such a horrible thing to say for some reason.
I hardly say it, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna use clip if I ever feel like I have to say
Yep.
it. So,
But did you guys notice it seemed like Carole was trying to call out Dorinda for having it be like a pre-planned catchphrase? She's like, oh, and did you just think of it right in that moment?
She made a lot of side comments tonight, that Carole.
she did. She was bringing a little bit of the heat over there on that couch against the ladies on the other couch.
Do we think that Carole brings a lot to this show?
This season, no, but I love the balance that she always is.
She's the little center balance beam.
I just love her story and her lifestyle, and I don't mind that she's a quieter housewife who's kind of just the glue in between some scenes and some other housewives. I don't mind it at all. I wouldn't mind if she was on there forever,
She wasn't promoting a project, right?
What's that?
Was she promoting a project this season? A book or anything?
No.
That would have added
In fact, I heard that her and that's news. I'll tell you guys later.
We have juice later.
Yeah, I like Carole. I think she adds a little bit of color without coming off as crass and rude, and she stepped a little bit away from Bethenny, which I think she needed to do. And we saw her get closer with Dorinda. I like that friendship. I like seeing that relationship flourish. And
with Tinsley too.
And with Tinsley, I just think she's likable.
Yeah, exactly.
She's relatable.
Yeah.
For some reason.
She wins the popular vote.
She wins the popular vote.
I think she's just not afraid to be herself, so she's like the anti-countess, where the countess is all about appearances.
But that's why we love her, too.
Right. Carole's all like, I don't give a F. You know what? I kicked my 30-year-old boyfriend out of my apartment, and I don't care.
Well, what did you guys think about Sonja and Dorinda? And once again, we came back to the silk pajamas. And she's like, well, they were in my closet. No, they were in Dorinda's closet in her home. Whether it's a guest bedroom, she said, these are all my closets. You go through and rummage through something and you pull this out. Do you think production set this up at all? Do you think that this was Sonja?
Well, I remember Dorinda saying she found Sonja that night dead asleep sitting up at the dining room table, and she had to walk her upstairs, and she was like kissing all over her face and stuff. So we know that Sonja was very drunk. So I don't doubt that she in a very drunken state got up and put these pajamas on and didn't think that that was wrong. I think the fact that they were from Richard is the sticking point. And if they weren't from Richard, then it wouldn't have been a big deal at all. But I do think that both Ramona and Sonja, birds of a feather, whenever, especially when they've been drinking, they won't even apologize for anything the next day when they're sober, which is interesting. You'd think that would be the perfect excuse. I just had too much wine. I'm sorry. How silly of me.
I'm still apologizing for pushing my girlfriend in New York when I was drinking whiskey.
Whoops.
Every time I think about drinking whiskey, I'm like, God, that time that I pushed you, I'm so sorry. And she didn't tell me about it for days because she knew. She's like, Lyndsey, when she drinks whiskey, gets sassy.
Ooh.
So she didn't even tell me till we got back from the trip.
All right, we're going to the bar after. I need to see the sassy Lyndsey come out.
No, I drank bourbon the other night and it didn't do it. So I think it's only whiskey.
Whiskey.
It's my angry, liquor drunk.
I used to be that way with tequila.
Oh, yeah.
In my early 20s, we'd do tequila shots, and I'd be raging, la la la. Don't do that anymore.
What's your angry
You know what?
liquor?
I actually said this on my Snapchat a few days ago. I want to believe I'm a happy drunk, but people say I'm a mean drunk. So
With anything? Or
no,
with
not with anything.
I don't
think
even
have to go
believe
to
that about
Yeah,
you.
I
You're
can't
so
even see
sweet all the
that.
time.
Well, it's the alcohol, but I would probably say Crown or
a
dark. That whole
whiskey.
family, yeah.
Okay.
Stay away from that.
Yeah. All right.
Not
well,
a good look.
maybe some of these housewives, whatever they're drinking, when Ramona gets into her mood, watch what you drink. I don't drink whiskey.
I
just
have
know.
to say that I do feel bad for Dorinda, though, because those two women, I feel like sometimes they treat her kind of poorly. And she's such a good friend. She's such a good hostess. She's a great, housewife. It's just sad that they kind of feel like they can be
Walk
that way
all
to
over
her.
her.
And then I also feel like Dorinda is used to that behavior. So she just says, it's them, it's my girls, that's how they are. But at some point, it's kind of like they're being a little disrespectful.
At some point, she's going to blow.
Yeah.
Like she kind of did that at the lunch when she was
And she
saying
does,
clip and
yeah.
she was drunk and stuff. So, and we'll also talk a little bit about then what's the difference between Dorinda being drunk and Sonja being drunk, and the fact that Sonja was getting out of line before. So she's saying she hasn't been drinking. She had these 10, months off, and Tinsley's saying, well, no, I saw that you had drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sips here and there. You didn't not drink for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why they're a little bit harder on Sonja, because Sonja makes these bold claims and then goes completely against them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't really get her in the denial of it all. It was weird that everyone's like, we don't care.
Just don't say it.
Right. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get her whole storyline this year being mean to Tinsley.
Oh, and it's going to get worse, it looks like, next week, too.
It's like
She
a
can't
job.
use the intern. You can't use my intern. Or what is it? My assistant. Sorry, I thought it was
Speaking
her
of
intern.
interns and assistants, well, we have this thing here. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100+ job sites with just one click. Guys, pay attention here. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. It's pretty impressive.
Wow.
Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. That's ZipRecruiter/buzz. One more time to try it free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/buzz.
Oh, very, very cool.
Yeah,
Speaking of our
amazing.
interns. Also, I just saw somebody post that Charlie posted that maybe Sonja means that she never got wasted and was hopped up on pills at the time.
Oh. Well, by all means, claim that you were sober.
I mean, sober from alcohol. I mean that gives her the out right there if that's what her claim was. Let's move on to LuAnn, who really enjoys being Mrs. D'Agostino.
R.I.P. She's back to the Countess on social media. Good for her.
I thought she couldn't. I thought she couldn't take the Countess title.
You know, her name stayed Countess LuAnn as far as her
her handle.
But with the part you can change, your display larger bold face name, she had changed to her married name, so she went back to.
Here's the thing with her, and what I love is that she's gonna write out the Countess name whether she's the Countess or not.
What
forever.
I love too. Bring it
Forever.
back.
It's probably gonna be in her tagline next season too. I'm not the Countess and I'm not the wife, but I'm LuAnn. Like, she's always going to use the Countess, and I'm sorry, that's forever.
I can't decide if I want to see crazy single LuAnn that we've seen for the past few years, or if I want to see her try to reclaim when she was on the show with the Count, when they still appeared married, even though it seems like they were separated and hiding it. There was just such an air about her, and I want to see her go back to claim that, and it not be.
And she better not go
not
anywhere.
Genuine.
God forbid she leave and just feels like, I'm not into this. This was just too much.
Oh no.
No.
No,
Okay.
she's
in it.
such a pretender. She's gonna come back and be like, "What are we even talking about, darling?" Darling.
Well,
Megan is amazing, you guys.
she says that she had this big elaborate wedding because Tom had never been married and because her and Alex eloped. So this is why she had the bridal showers, the bachelorette parties, the weddings, the receptions, all these things.
We love Sonja pointing that out for us.
But first of all, wealthy people, if they do want to have a wedding, it's usually a big production and they have money. So, of course it was going to be a big, lovely party, wedding. It was also a holiday. It was also Tom's birthday. So, of course it was
They're going to do a big event.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with it.
I didn't either.
I don't either.
I didn't either. I mean,
it might feel funny. I understand it's basically just her friends that are having an issue with it. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to a bridal shower and the bride's in her 50s. Or oh God, we're doing a bachelorette party. There's nothing wrong with it. She never did that the first time around, and just do it in an age-appropriate way.
Yeah.
I don't think she did it really well.
And we find out why Sonja got disinvited from the wedding. LuAnn did send her a save the date, but because Sonja was talking negatively about her in the press, she decided to rescind the invitation, and she was no longer invited, which makes sense.
If anybody were to disagree with LuAnn's actions, I'd be like, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
I wouldn't understand somebody defending Sonja in this moment, because Sonja said some pretty terrible things behind LuAnn's back, so I agree with what LuAnn did. I wouldn't want anybody, if they were to say something negative about my situation, and even if I did send the save the date, people change their minds. I'm sorry. It's not that's why they have a save the date. It's things can happen in between then. So
it's true. And I just find it interesting, all of the throwing around, you and the press and the press and the press. So there was a lot of them calling each other out for putting stories in the press. And I just find it so interesting that they all do that to each other. They act like they're not on a TV show that we're going to see what actually happened. It's like they'll throw, say you and I are taping a TV show and I put something, I'm mad at you, so I put something mean about you on page 6. We're going to actually see what happened on TV in 9 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to fight about the fact that I put that in the press. These women live for page 6, but a TV show is so much bigger than page 6 to me, in my eyes. These women live in this alternate universe where only Manhattan exists, and
well, it really seems to be Sonja doing that with most of the women. She's done it with Tinsley, with LuAnn, with Dorinda. I mean, she really was doing it with everyone.
That's what makes New York really unique, is that people care so much what's in the newspaper and what's like reported.
Right.
Other franchises, Beverly Hills, we never hear about press. I mean, they pull up like, graphics of things that are in the press, but no one is really like so invested in it.
You know what the receipts are on that show is like the texts to
The
each
text,
other.
yep.
Right.
You get the little.
They're not like calling
Same
radar
thing with
online,
Housewives
really.
of Orange County. They do the text.
Yeah.
Screenshot. So a lot of the housewives were saying that they thought that Barbara actually had good intentions when she was making the comments.
They were defending her.
They were defending her, saying that it was more out of concern than it was really trying to be malicious. Do you guys agree with that?
I do. I think she didn't realize she was being picked up on the mic. I think Carole probably was at a point where she didn't even really realize that was, because they were off camera doing something else in a loud space. I don't think it occurred to either of them to be cautious of what they were saying.
Interesting, because it was interesting that Dorinda really came for defending Barbara, because they were protecting her. She must be a really nice friend. I think she
LuAnn
just
said
caught her.
my best friend, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's it.
Then you have to know that this is just out of concern, whether or not, however it comes off.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
They're just protecting her from the tweets, the mean tweets that could come.
And Tom was mad that LuAnn was selling wedding stories to the press, so that's why he was going out with women that he had made out with and then went to lunch with their boyfriends. I mean, I am with all the women on this when they're having that big conversation at the end where they're all telling her, why do you allow this? And she's like, well, I've talked to him about it, or I've suggested, and they're saying, no, this isn't a suggestion, this is a mandate. This doesn't happen. You did this cannot happen anymore. And Tinsey said, well, you're his wife, so you can make that decision. I don't know if I believe that, because I feel like you can't tell someone what they can and can't do. I feel like a suggestion, or like, this hurts me when this happens. Please don't do this. Please.
And what can we do about that?
Yeah, how can we fix this? I don't want you hanging out with somebody that you made out with, whether you're friends with her or not. Like, that's not appropriate anymore. We're married.
Right. And I don't think it's as easy as they're trying to make it
No,
seem.
I don't think so either.
Tinsley's like, no, you tell him. He's your husband. It's like, okay, but it's a conversation. I think it's inappropriate? Absolutely. Probably Tom doesn't see it that way, because these are people he goes out to dinner with all the time.
Or he doesn't care, which is what it comes off as completely, is that this whole time he didn't care. That's why he was doing it, because if he truly cared about LuAnn, he wouldn't have been embarrassing her. He wouldn't have been saying the dog with the collar. He wouldn't have de-mic'd. He didn't care. I really, truly don't think he cared.
No,
That's
not
really
at all.
sad. That's really sad. With LuAnn, sitting there, and I was really watching how the women were kind of like really going at it. She handled herself really
did.
well. There's
always
just so
does.
many opinions. There's
The Countess
side
Shield.
comments. Yeah, she definitely came like prepared for this, because any other person would have just broken down and been like, okay, you guys are all right. God, I made like a terrible decision. I hate myself.
I would have been bawling as well, I think, because they were all coming at her, and that's really hard. And it's not like they're attacking her. They're attacking her and Tom's relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and they feel
him.
entitled to
And
do
that's
that.
really, really hard to sit there and take. You can only take so much before you kind of just like, and she really held it together well.
And I'm glad that she told Ramona for her not to speak for her, because when Ramona does that, I if somebody were to do that to me, I'd be like, don't speak for me.
Yeah.
Exactly what she did.
Well, and Ramona did tell them, though, that Tom had met a woman from Pennsylvania, from Philly, at the Regency. They went up to a hotel room, and Tom had told her that he was in an open relationship. Now, nothing happened. This was the news she had last time.
How do we know
Now,
nothing happened?
How did
How does
Ramona
nothing
get a hold of
happen?
this information? Because it's not like she would have known this woman from Philadelphia. And how would she know what did or didn't happen?
Yeah.
Well, and they asked LuAnn, would you leave Tom if you knew that he was cheating on you? And she said yes. And I think that's part of she knew when she was saying this in the reunion. And then that episode aired before the demicing one. She knew she said that. I think she knew, I got to call this.
Well,
Yeah.
so she was saying at the reunion this episode, last night was the first time I saw when let me take this mic off, or de-mic or whatever, when he was talking to Missy. And then she's like, well, why do you think I spent the night at the hotel? So I'm wondering if she was watching that at home and got in an argument with him and then stormed off to a hotel, or if there was an argument about something else, or she discovered something that led her to be staying at a hotel? Was it just last night? Was it for a few nights?
Did the production have people stay in the hotels closer to the venue?
Yeah,
things like that.
What was really going on?
Yeah.
So sad.
She
And I don't
definitely
think-
realized it. And, you know, you never know what happens on these shows. I know we look at it as pure entertainment, but these are people's lives. And this was very unfortunate that this happened the way it did. But, LuAnn, if you're watching, you deserve, you know, the best.
The
and
world,
this was
like,
just
that's-
not...
Yeah, it
for
was like
you.
disrespecting her. She disrespected her own self by marrying this guy, which was the sad part. Like, not only were every single one of these women saying, I don't think you should do that, I think he's a bad guy, the whole world was tweeting it at her, and she was
Yeah.
just like, ha ha ha, nope, we're so in love.
Her son.
Yeah, I mean,
It's hard.
We'll see if she bounces back, because somebody that
sure.
does bounce back really quick that I said on the Real Housewives after show is Vicky. You know, she goes through these relationships and she bounces back. There's just like guys
I
that
love
are
her
just
relationship right now.
oh yeah, that's always there. So it's gonna be interesting to
how
see
nice
if
is that guy?
I love him. He's
Steve.
great.
Yeah, no, we all are obsessed with him. He's great.
Let's talk about some. Do you have any news, Megan?
I do.
Okay. Great.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, guys, unfortunately, another one bites the dust. Mercury is in retrograde, and we're having a lot of breakups.
I think you're gonna say the same thing.
I know, yeah. Carole and Adam.
But I've read that they didn't necessarily break up.
Yes. So it seems like the story is evolving throughout the week. So I think at first there was an exclusive saying they have definitely broken up. And now a source close to Carole is saying, you know, it's just not a traditional relationship. And they kind of took a break. And like, you know, I wouldn't say it's black and white and that things are over. So we'll have to see. No word from Carole. She really hasn't tweeted or Instagrammed at all since last night. So I don't know if she's planning what to say or what not to say. Carole kind of strikes me as somebody who would just not comment on it at all and keep posting her normal stuff. But she stopped posting anything. And on the first reunion night, it's kind of weird for her to not tweet along or post something. But we'll see. R.I.P. to that one if it's true. I'm sad.
That was
Well, let's move on then to some predictions for next week.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, we obviously know Tom's going out with other women. There's more on this happening next week. Sonja's saying Tinsley's party was all for show, and Bethenny is not listening to what Ramona has to say. What do you guys think is going to happen next week?
Ooh, I think Tinsley is gonna have to defend herself a lot. I think Sonja is one of those one-track-minded people, so you know she felt like the party was for Tinsley and not for Sonja. So I'm more so looking forward to seeing how they are, because these are friends that lived with each other and they're sitting on opposite ends of the sofa. So it seems that we're gonna get to know a little bit where they're really at in this moment, because we haven't really touched on that in this particular episode. So next one I'm looking forward to seeing, are they friends or are they frenemies? What's going on?
I could not be less interested in that. But
Oh, okay.
Yes.
worst storyline of the season, honestly. But I'm interested in, it seems like Bethenny's going to be asked about Jason and the stalking. And it kind of seems our DVR cut off at the very end, so I didn't really get to see Bethenny's full crying
Reaction.
moment there. But I did hear her say, I can't even let myself feel it. It's too much. So I don't know if we're going to get anything else out of her as far as details. I hope so. I don't think so, but I'm like praying we get some little inkling of what had happened.
I want to see a nice blow up between Bethenny and Ramona.
Oh, yes. Good
That's
old,
what I'm hoping for.
good old Ramona. Emotional Ramona.
I feel like we'll get a little bit more from LuAnn about Tom, and I really go into some details and maybe even get a little emotional. But I'm hoping for that Ramona coaster and Bethenny choo-choo train to collide.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Can't
till
wait.
next week, where can everyone find you?
Guys, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, everywhere, Instastory, whatever, wherever. It's all at Megan Stecher. It's MEGANSTECHER. Hope to see you on Twitter. Talk with me.
Hey guys, I'm Thomas Orlina. My YouTube series called Your Time with Thomas. It's on YouTube now. It's available. The first 3 episodes have come out. Episode 4 comes out Friday. It's about dating, apps, exes. Everything is going to be really combined in this episode. So check it out. It's called Your Time with Thomas. Type it in now.
And this is Lyndsey here. You guys can find me on all things social media at Lyndsey Wegner. That's LyndseyWegner, or my blog, lyndseywegner.blogspot.com. Hopefully we'll have Ashley back next week, so we've got our full panel for episode 2 of the reunion. Until then, bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.